I'm David.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Okay.
How long have you guys been dating?
Month and a half, almost 2 months.
We've known each other for a little bit before that, though. Yeah.
Good experience, and I left her sobbing.
Mary, it's the end of an era.
The hospital room was cold and quiet, the kind of silence that feels heavy, almost like it's pressing down on your chest. Christine lay there, gripping the rails of her bed, sweat on her brow, her breathing deep and steady as another contraction rolled through her. Nurses moved in and out, their voices hushed, but the one person she needed most was nowhere to be found. Cody's absence wasn't just a missing face in the room, it was a gaping hole, a question mark hanging in the air. Where was he? Why wasn't he here, holding her hand, whispering encouragement, being the partner she'd always hoped for in this moment? The clock ticked on, and with every minute, the ache of being alone grew sharper. This wasn't just about one night or one birth. This was the moment that exposed years of quiet heartbreak, the kind that builds up when you're always second, always waiting, always hoping things will change. For Christine, this was the night the truth became impossible to ignore. The favoritism, the secrets, the way love and loyalty seemed to flow in only one direction. It was all right there, in the silence of that hospital room. Hi friends, I'm Sophie E., and you're watching TLC's Sister Wives Recaps. If you've ever wondered what really happened behind the scenes of the Brown family, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe, drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's get into the real story of Christine, Cody, Robin, Janelle, Mary, and the kids. The story that changed everything. The night Truly was born, everything about the Brown family seemed to shift. On the surface, the episode played out like a celebration, a new baby, a growing family, the kind of moment that's supposed to bring everyone together. But if you watched closely, you could feel the tension just beneath the surface. Christine was in active labor, her face a mix of exhaustion and determination. She tried to keep her spirits up, even cracking a few jokes with the nurses, but you could see the worry in her eyes. She kept glancing at the door, waiting for Cody to walk in, to be there for her the way a husband should be. But he wasn't. The show gave us a sanitized version of that night. We saw snippets of Christine breathing through contractions, the nurses offering support, and the family talking about how excited they were to welcome another child. There were quick interviews with the other wives, Janelle, Mary, and Robin, each sharing their hopes for a smooth delivery. The kids were at home, waiting for news, their voices full of anticipation. But the camera never lingered too long on Christine's face when she realized Cody wasn't there. It didn't dwell on the empty chair beside her bed or the way her smile faded when she thought no one was looking. Cody's absence was explained away with a few vague comments about needing to take care of things or being pulled in different directions. The show made it seem like he was just busy, maybe a little overwhelmed by the chaos of a big family. But fans noticed the gaps. They saw how Christine's mood shifted, how her energy dropped, how she seemed to be holding back tears. There was a sense of confusion in the room, a tension that didn't match the usual joy of a new birth. Even the nurses seemed to pick up on it, offering extra comfort and reassurance. The reality was, Christine was alone for much of her labor. The family's expectations that Cody would be there, that this would be a shared moment of love and support, clashed hard with what actually happened. The episode tried to keep things light, focusing on the arrival of baby Truly and the family's happiness. But for those paying attention, the cracks were impossible to miss. The night that should have brought everyone closer instead exposed just how far apart they really were. On the show, Cody's absence during Christine's labor was brushed off with a few quick explanations. He mentioned needing to take care of things at home, or that he was running errands, as if it was just another busy night in a house full of kids and wives. The cameras didn't follow him out the door, and there was no real sense of urgency in his voice. It was almost casual, like missing the birth of your own child was just another scheduling conflict. For viewers who had watched the Browns navigate chaos before, this felt off. Something didn't add up. As soon as the episode aired, fans started talking. Online forums lit up with questions. Where did Cody really go? Why wasn't he by Christine's side when she needed him most? Theories started to swirl. Some pointed out that Cody seemed distracted in his interviews, his answers vague and rehearsed. Others noticed that Robin, who was still the newest wife at the time, seemed unusually emotional and guarded in her own interviews. The speculation grew louder. Was Cody with Robin that night instead of Christine? Christine's body language told its own story. She tried to keep her composure, but you could see the disappointment in her eyes. She smiled for the cameras, but it never quite reached her eyes. When the nurses offered encouragement, she nodded and thanked them, but there was a heaviness in her voice. Fans picked up on the way she looked at the door, the way her hands fidgeted with the hospital blanket, the way she seemed to shrink into herself when Cody's absence was mentioned. It was the kind of pain you can't fake and the kind you can't hide, even when you're trying to be strong for the cameras. Robin's role in all of this became a lightning rod for the growing sense of favoritism in the family. She was the new wife, the one Cody seemed to gravitate toward more and more. On the show, she expressed concern for Claire, Christine, and the baby, but there was a distance in her words, a carefulness that didn't go unnoticed. As the rumors about Cody's whereabouts grew, so did the feeling that Robin was at the center of it all. Fans started to see a pattern. Cody's attention, his time, his loyalty, all seemed to be shifting in one direction. The night of Truly's birth became the moment when that favoritism stopped being a secret and started being a problem everyone could see. If you've watched Sister Wives for any length of time, you know the favoritism didn't start or end with Truly's birth. The show is full of moments that make it clear. Cody's relationship with Robin is just different. It's in the way he lights up when she walks into a room, the way he listens to her, the way he seems to drop everything for her needs. Compare that to his interactions with Christine, Janelle, or Mary, and the difference is hard to ignore. There are scenes where Cody is helping Robin move into her new house, carrying boxes, making sure every detail is perfect. He's attentive, patient, and always present. When Robin's kids need something, Cody is there, ready to step in. But when Christine or Janelle mention needing help, the response is often delayed or brushed aside. Christine has talked about buying diapers herself, even when the family was supposed to share expenses. Janelle once mentioned on camera that she had to track every dollar she spent, hinting that not everyone was playing by the same rules. The financial decisions always seem to tilt in Robin's favor. Bigger house, more support, extra attention. Time spent is another big one. Cody's visits to Robin's house always seemed longer, more frequent, and more relaxed. He'd show up with flowers, plan special dates, and make sure Robin felt secure. Meanwhile, Christine and the other wives often got the leftovers, quick check-ins, distracted conversations, and a sense that Cody was always in a hurry to be somewhere else. The emotional support was lopsided too. When Robin was upset, Cody was quick to comfort her, to listen, to validate her feelings. Christine's decision to write her memoir wasn't just about telling her side of the story. It was about finally being heard. For years, she played the role of the supportive wife, the one who smiled for the cameras and kept her pain private. But after Truly's birth, something changed. The silence became too heavy, the secrets too much to carry. When Christine announced her book, fans knew it was going to be more than just behind-the-scenes gossip. This was her chance to reclaim her voice and set the record straight. In her memoir, Christine doesn't hold back. She describes the loneliness of that hospital room, the sting of realizing Cody had chosen to be somewhere else, and the slow, painful process of accepting that she was no longer his priority. She writes about the years of feeling invisible, the moments when she questioned her own worth, and the heartbreak of watching Cody pour his energy into Robin while she was left to pick up the pieces. Her words are raw and honest, and you can feel the weight of every sentence. For so long, Christine's pain was edited out, glossed over, or explained away. Now, she's putting it front and center. Her story doesn't just challenge the official narrative, it shatters it. The image of the happy, united Brown family starts to crack when you read Christine's account. She exposes the favoritism, the financial imbalances, and the emotional neglect that shaped her life for years. She calls out the way the show edited her reality, and she refuses to let her truth be buried any longer. The response from fans has been overwhelming. People who watched her journey from the beginning have reached out with messages of support, sharing their own stories of feeling overlooked or undervalued. Even some of the other wives have reacted, though not always publicly. Janelle has shown quiet support, liking Christine's posts and hinting at her own STR, uggles. Mary, as usual, keeps her cards close, but her silence speaks volumes. Christine's memoir isn't just a book, it's a turning point. It's proof that telling your story, even when it's painful, can change everything. Christine's decision to finally speak her truth sent shockwaves through the entire Brown family. The dynamic shifted almost overnight. Suddenly, the cracks that had always been there were impossible to ignore. The kids, especially those old enough to remember Truly's birth, started to open up about their own memories. Some talked about how they'd learned not to expect much from Cody, how they'd watched their mom carry the weight of the family alone. For them, Christine's honesty was a relief. It made sense of years of confusion and quiet disappointment. Janelle's role changed too. She became more vocal, more protective of her own boundaries. You could see her pulling away from the old family structure, focusing on her independence and her kids. She supported Christine in subtle ways, making it clear she understood what it felt like to be sidelined. Mary, always the most private, seemed even more withdrawn. Her silence around Christine's revelations spoke volumes, hinting at her own unresolved pain and the distance that had grown between her and the rest of the family. Fans responded with a mix of outrage and support. Social media lit up with calls for TLC to be more transparent, to show the real story instead of the polished version. People wanted answers. What else had been edited out? How much of the family's pain had been hidden to protect the show's image? The demand for honesty grew louder with every new detail Christine shared. And the questions haven't stopped. Viewers are still piecing together the timeline, still wondering what other secrets might be buried in old footage or unspoken interviews. Christine's truth-telling didn't just change her own life. It forced everyone, from her family to the fans to the network itself, to reckon with what had really been happening all along. The story isn't over, and the search for answers continues. Christine's story is a reminder that telling the truth, even when it's painful, can change everything. It takes real courage to stand up and say what happened, especially when the world expects you to keep quiet and play along. For years, Christine's voice was edited out, her pain hidden behind a carefully crafted image of family unity. But by sharing her experience, she's given a voice to everyone who's ever felt overlooked, dismissed, or left behind. Her honesty has started conversations that needed to happen, not just in her own family, but among fans who see their own struggles reflected in her journey. It's proof that one person's truth can ripple out and touch so many others. And it's a challenge to all of us to look closer, to ask questions, and to never settle for the version of the story that's easiest to believe. I want to know what you think. Did Christine's story change the way you see the Brown family? Do you believe there's still more to be revealed? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit subscribe, and stay tuned to TLC's Sister Wives recaps for more real stories, honest analysis, and the truth behind the headlines. Thanks for being here with me, Sophie.